We're getting started here. Good evening and welcome to this evening's meeting of the Woodbury County Zoning Commission. Today's date is May 27th, 2026. It is 5 p.m. Tonight's meeting will be audio taped and minutes will be prepared. In respect to all parties, we ask those present turn off cell phones or set to vibrate. Those in attendance are asked to legibly complete the attendance sheet upon the front table. I would like to take a moment to review the procedures that the commission will follow tonight. First, the commission will handle normal housekeeping agenda items. Then for each application on the agenda, I will open the public hearing on the item. The planning and zoning staff will then present the staff report, including the staff recommendation. Any letters or other communication received from the public prior to the hearing will be entered into the recording. The applicant will then have the opportunity to present his or her case and respond to the staff report. Next, we will hear comments from the public. If you'd like to speak either in support of or against the application, you must come to the microphone. Please first state your name and address for the record. All interested parties shall be heard, but repetitious comments should be avoided. Repetitious or irrelevant comments may be ruled out of order by the chair. I ask that you remain respectful and courteous with your comments at all times. After all public comments have been heard, the staff and applicant may make the closing statement. The hearing shall then be closed by motion and vote. Thereafter, no further comments from the staff, public, or applicant may be heard unless asked for by the commission. The commission shall then deliberate the case and may ask questions of the applicant, the staff, or any party offering testimony. However, such questions do not reopen the hearing for additional comments from the public unless so requested or approved by the commission. The commission will then formulate and vote on a motion. The motion will typically either grant or deny the requested application. Any commission member who has an ex parte communication to place in the record of this meeting should do so prior to the beginning of the deliberation of their respective agenda items. Okay, with that being said, roll call. Let the record reflect that we have all commissioners with the exception of Jeff Hansen. Yes. Okay. Next item on the agenda is public comment on matters not on the agenda. I'm not seeing or hearing anyone. No one on the phone?
No.
Okay, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. That is an action item, so unless we have corrections, I would entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion. Could I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, that carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing zoning ordinance map amendment rezone from the Agricultural Preservation AP zoning district to the Agricultural Estates AE zoning district on parcel number 874-7272-00011. The applicant is William J. Smith. Property address is 2634 Buchanan Avenue, Salix, Iowa 51052. And Dan will read the rest of the information into the record, please.
Yes, for this public hearing at tonight's special meeting of the Zoning Commission, as the chair mentioned, the applicant is Mr. William J. Smith, who is with us here this evening. His property, as referenced, this is a rezone to the Agricultural Estates zoning district, and his property includes 16.96 acres. It's located in the Liberty Township in the southwest quarter and the northwest quarter of the northeast quarter of Section 27. And again, from agricultural preservation to the Agricultural Estates zoning district. And I think one of the things that I want to mention is a lot of these rezones are very visual. So I want to point to the screen here and turn on the zoning district and show you the quarter section. And you will see here that William Smith's house is in the AP. Come on. Okay, the green pulls up here in this quarter area. It's divided by the old Highway 75, and there's two houses there on the east side of the 75. And the ordinance has the density control of 2 houses per quarter. Mr. Smith just simply wants to be able to have the opportunity to get a building permit to build a house on his other side there. And that would denote switching this over to AE to allow him to build this respective house. We have not had a lot of comments for this project from the neighboring property owners. I understand, and as reflected in the packet, I had one particular member call and just ask generally about the project. And when they realized the location, they didn't have a issue with it. They were kind of, there's a matter going on down by Salix on another zoning related matter that they may have been kind of having both of those kind of aligned up and just sorting it out as far as this being county related. And so kind of with that said, it's a straightforward proposal. I do want to mention that there is a Magellan line that goes through that, kind of a budding old 75 there in the region. And we haven't had expansive notes out of Brian Ferguson, who's typically worked with. And I know they call the company One OK now versus, believe Magellan there in the past. And they typically talk about the 50 feet aspect of being off of those respective lines. And so administratively, if this gets to the building permit procedure, we would work with him on the site plan as far as positioning the house. I will point out that by virtue of engaging in the rezone from AP to AE, he also gets more generous setbacks, with the front yard setback being reduced from 100 to 75, which would allow him for more area space to build closer to the Buchanan Avenue versus the old Highway 75. But he would work with us administratively under the building permit procedure. But with that said, Bill is going through this process simply for his goal to build a home out there. And with that said, Bill is with us here this evening.
Bill, do you have anything you want to add to any of the information that we have here tonight? You don't have to, but it's, yeah, but if you do, will you come up to the microphones? No, sorry, it's not that easy. We're making it as easy as we possibly can, but we can't make it quite that easy.
Oh, I've been to far more frustrating stuff than this.
Do you have any questions or concern with us or the process?
No,
Okay,
no, I don't.
okay. Okay, commissioners, do you have any questions or comments for the applicant?
And may I, for the record and for the good of the cause, mention that this is a zoning commission recommendation. They make a recommendation directly to the Board of Supervisors. And what the Board of Supervisors do is they consider your proposal in up to 3 public hearings that will happen in the month of June. And we have them scheduled to go on the 9th, 16th, and 23rd at the normal Board of Supervisor meeting at 4:40 p.m. On that first meeting on the 9th, they will receive what the zoning commission comes up with here tonight. So that is basically our process. So you've got a few more steps to go through. And then at that point, then you would talk building permits. So this is really, the scope of this is about flipping that parcel over to the AE to accommodate. And I do want to mention the backup materials and the comprehensive plan. This fits as far as the area out there. And you look at the scope of the neighborhood with the houses across the street and everything of that nature. So it's, we're not having, I would say, major discrepancies as far as the major change of the area. And that's one of the things that we have to look for in zoning, is when an area fits, especially with the comp plan. And when we have those rural residential areas, and typically in our comp plan, we use either the AE or the suburban residential, depending on the nature of the respective lots. And I think you all know very well in your experiences that AE retains much of the rights of agricultural. It's much more a density-based issue of having more houses in a quarter-based section. So I just thought I'd point that out for the good of the order.
Thank you. Okay, if no one has any questions or comments, I'd entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to recommend the,
We got to close public.
oh, sorry.
Sorry, we need to close.
A motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay, is it Corey? Yeah, all right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're closed. Now, Would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, and I guess I'd follow up just a little bit of comment on Dan's, the easement with the pipeline has really nothing to do with the rezoning issue. It'll be spelled out within your easement what you have to follow. So I guess barring that,
Be far away from that thing. I know where it's at.
okay. Seeing as it fits with the future land use plan, I would make the motion to recommend approval from zoning from AP to AE to the Board of Supervisors.
Okay, we have a motion. Could I get a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, and do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried.
Okay, thank you. And Bill will be in touch, but your next meeting will be the 9th. It'll be down here, June 9th.
Thank you, you as
We
well.
all hit the lotto.
Thank you.
See faces along the interstate on a billboard.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, the next item we have on the agenda is a public comment on matters not on the agenda. So we have no one in the public in our room and we have no one on the telephone. So I think we're going to be able to pass that. Item number 7 then is staff update.
Okay, just as a staff update, I would like to gauge the commission as far as we don't know what next month will look like for our level of agenda items. But what I'd like to do following the meeting is schedule the Iowa Public Information Board training so that we can have that discussion. It's an hour and a half basically. But I'm credentialed now to be able to administer that and train you on that. And so you're all in good status because you've been on the board prior to the first of the year. But by us having that, some other board members in other areas of the county and even the city or whoever wants to attend could have that ability to come and meet that training requirement, especially for new board members. And I've had an inquiry about having the training for new board members coming on. And I think it's probably I know it's summer, but it would be a reasonable time, I think. And so I just want to get your thoughts if you're okay with, we would just do it down here following the meeting. Yeah. So that's kind of the goal. So if we're all okay with that. Again, you don't really need it, but it doesn't hurt to have it for sure. So,
Everybody okay with that? June, sound okay?
Will you bring in Board of Adjustment also?
yeah, well, I was going to probably schedule for them on their nights at some point, but otherwise we would have to set up the notice of, people coming together. But Board of Adjustment won't have a meeting this month, but I could maybe ask them and inquire if they want to do that.
Sure.
So we'll see if we could set something up. It might be nice just to do a catch-all.
Okay,
Get me thinking out loud on the logistics. Thank you.
there you go.
Helps. Okay, the other thing, really briefly, on our certified abstractor listing, again, this is just generally, this isn't an agenda item. So a priority of kind of looking at maybe in the future is our certified abstractor listing. I know came with the ordinance in 2008, and I want to examine that. We've had some questions about our notification distances quite generally, and I think that might be something that we might want to look at as far as using certified abstractor listings and what kind of grew as far as the 2008 ordinance. They are a helpful document as far as itemizing who is within the respective notification zones, but I just simply want to explore that more as far as looking at, for example, telecommunication tower permitting. We do have a 1 mile on that. So I've been looking at what other counties do for that specific style permitting. Generally, our ordinance has 500 feet as most all conditional uses, with the exception, I think, of course, the nuclear has a large one when nuclear came about. But the telecommunication tower up to that point was the 1 mile. And I think airports might have something different. I have to go back and check, but we just want to streamline and see generally if we see any issues or discrepancies, or if we need to modernize ordinances, not only on this issue, but across the board. We're always just looking for new aspects. And again, I know some of you were around there in 2008 when the original ordinance, and I think JEO, I think, was cited as one of them that originally created the ordinance. But as a zoning commission, it's always kind of good to look at, you know, these respective ideas. The Board of Supervisors at times you've been tasked before on different issues, and the zoning commission themselves can come up with ideas to look at and research in conjunction with the entire board, or the chair as well, coming up with ideas to look at enhancing the ordinance. And again, this is no new agenda item or anything. I just wanted to point out staff is just generally looking at that just for research purposes and to understand it and how we fit with the rest of the state on some of those issues.
Okay.
So that's all I got with that. So
Okay, well, thank you very much. Okay, do we have any questions for Dan on any of those items?
I guess I would like to follow up a little bit. I know at the time we discussed that, had you found any other counties in the meantime that have required the certified abstractor listing, or do they still all go with just the assessors?
as a staff, we saw a mixed bag at this point. I've got to be careful because well, I would say we're not fully comprehensive, but we have a good understanding with some counties, and it's very limited out there. I think typically what we're seeing is some do the assessor site, go to the assessor site and pull a radius or pull a area in which and generate a list on who is within that respective feet. The certified abstractor listing, again, is a good document because it pulls into what's officially recorded, and they pull the data and it gives us the names. Then we send the letters out and we notify within that distance. So I guess it's evolving much more from my research on whether or not we use an abstract listing to what our distances are for our standardized conditional uses. And the vast majority of our conditional uses are at the 500 feet, depending on what the issue is. And I'm specifically looking at where telecommunication towers lie as far as in comparison to others. So we are bound to Iowa Code 8C as well as the federal regulations. And you've been through many of those permitting processes where much of the guidelines down to the local level, we're looking at our basics as far as setbacks and placement and our basic standards on how one fits, but we're heavily governed by what the feds say in terms of that. So just trying to examine that in generality. And I'll definitely report back when we have more information.
Did you mention too that you'd talk to legal department? about
Yeah,
this
that's
too?
always a component. So
Yeah.
that would be ongoing.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I know we talked earlier about the advantages of maybe having certified abstractors, is that you have a third party involved.
Well, certified abstractor is an advantage because it does document specifically within the areas in which we notify. So it's a good document. So I think my research is now evolving more on what those distances are,
Okay,
on what the proper notification areas
Okay.
are. And we went through that with what we decided with nuclear, which again is a very large one. And what are the comparable distances for telecommunication towers? And that's what, and Don did a lot of research too, looking at the distances with some of those counties
Okay.
too.
do you remember, didn't we have discussion, maybe not when we were doing the ordinances, but did we have discussions about that setback because we thought maybe the communication towers were going to be an issue?
We did on the setback issue, we just didn't on in regards to the abstractor listing versus the assessors. That was the only thing we didn't discuss, but the setbacks were an issue or discussion.
Yeah, and this being information, we maybe ought to move on and make it a item at some point.
Okay,
So where we could actually dig in and debate it.
sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Dan. All right, now we are at item number 8, which is commissioner comments or inquiries. Do we have any? Everybody's jumping up and down here. No. How about adjournment? Corey, can I count on you?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Could I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, everyone. We appreciate your time.